Welcome back to the lounge where we have refreshing conversations and serial recommendations. We're back with part two of our three-part series, looking into the birth stories of our mothers while also having the father's perspective. So today we're diving into Levi's birth story. And so Casey's going to kick off this episode. And yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, so Levi, we knew we wanted to have our second pretty close to Bethel. And so me and my brother are 21 months apart. That's exactly what Levi and Bethel are. So we started trying, I think, around August of 23. And we found out we were pregnant on October 17th. So Bethel was right at 13 months old. So pretty soon especially for C-section person. But my pregnancy it was very similar to Bethel's. I had some acid reflux here and there. I did have a few food aversions with him. They were pretty bad for the first trimester. It was like, I could only eat, it was junk food. Like, it was like chicken nuggets. It was like crap. And I remember one time I was like so sick to my stomach, but I was starving. And I was like, the only thing that sounds good to me right now is from Culver's, a spicy chicken sandwich, which I've never ordered in my entire life, and mashed potatoes. Fries, mashed potatoes sounded so good. My body wants junk, like fattening food. Anyway.
What the baby wants.
Yeah, honestly.
The baby wants.
So that lasted for, first trimester. Second, I was fine. Third, acid reflux came back. In my third, I think I was 29 weeks pregnant. We go on a cruise. I woke up that day. This was Dominican was our last stop. And then we were like 2 days at sea, and then we were home. So this was like the tail end of our trip, which I'm grateful for, honestly. If this had happened at the beginning, it would have been devastating. But I wake up that morning and I don't feel great. My stomach feels pretty nauseous, but I'm like, I'm pregnant. I'm on a cruise. Like, what do you expect? So, and then I'm like, I can't get off this boat. I throw up like 17 times. I can't eat anything. I can't drink anything. I am just dog sick.
And I don't know any of this.
Because they're off the boat.
Right.
Because I was like, you take Bethel, you get off the boat, and I'll stay here and just throw my brains up.
Well, I didn't know she was throwing up, right? But I was really excited to see Dominican. It was a port. It looked beautiful. So you were sleeping. I'm like, hey, we're going to go ahead and get off. And it wasn't until I got back on the boat and got back to our stateroom.
Because I had thrown up a few times, and then I texted him because I was terrified. I'm pregnant. I'm like, I can't do this that many times and be okay. I texted him like, you need to come back because I feel horrible. And we were at a stop, so I had to call my doctor, and they were like, giving me suggestions and stuff. They're like, try to at least drink some water. Everything that I drank or ate.
That's what they always
do. Yeah. I was like, it came right back up. They get back on the boat. I am like so sick. And I think we made a call to the cruise emergency department, and we couldn't go there until 9 p.m. And it's 3 or 4. And I'm struggling. And finally, the time comes that we can go to the ER doctor. I try to get up and walk. I can't do it. I'm like, babe, you're going to have to get a wheelchair. So Corey wheels me to the ER, and they give me 3 or 4 bags of fluid and some nausea medicine and stuff like that. And I'm in the ER for 3 or 4 hours or so. But on the bright side, that day, I'll never forget it, Bethel was 19 months old. and she said Dada for the first time.
For the first time.
Aw.
19.
For the very
I
first
had
time.
to wait 19 months to hear my daughter say
But
Dad.
it was like in one of the worst, not the worst, but
Well,
in
you
a
have-
very low
You have,
spot.
right. You
in
have
her life.
Casey knocked out. Like, I mean, she was conscious, but like just laying there in this cruise,
Just hooked up to
right.
IVs.
And she's just randomly just said, Dad. And we're like, oh my gosh.
It was like she was literally turned 19 months that day, and I was in the ER. So that was great. So like the next day, you know, I'm better. The fluids, like he's moving. I know he's okay, but I'm still terrified. We get off the cruise, and then that week we move. And so I remember we moved in April, and we had 2 months before he came. So anyway, fast forward to I'm now 36, 37 weeks. They start doing cervical checks and stuff, and I am dead set to have a beat back. I'm like, you know, I'm praying about this every single day. Lord Jesus, please let me have a vaginal birth with him. Because he was measuring very small. And so I was like, if I have a chance to push any kid out, it's going to be this one. So, and my doctor was very supportive. He's like, listen, if I'm really the only one in Georgetown that does
very
VBACs,
few.
Yeah. And so he's like, if we can, we will. And he checked me like from 36 to 38 weeks. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. He's like, you're not thinned, you're not effaced, you're not dilating. And like, you're not even a pinhead. He's like, you're not even open at all. And I was like, what is like, my body does not want to push out kids, apparently. So we make an appointment. So I was 38 weeks at this point. I think it was like on a Thursday or a Friday. And he schedules me for a C-section the next Wednesday. And so we get there very early, like 5 a.m. And it's so miserable because like I can't eat anything because I'm about to have surgery. And we don't get scheduled for the C-section until like 1:30 p.m.
And you
So
got like 5?
Yes. So I have to wait so long. But my doctor was like very like, he's very pushy apparently. Like all the nurses were like, oh, your doctor's going to get you. Like he's like very get to it kind of guys, which I appreciate because I'm like over here starving, which makes the medicine that they give me for the C-section, it makes me nauseous because I haven't eaten anything.
You
And
weren't allowed to
so-
eat anything? Like
No.
Jell-O?
Nothing.
Ice?
No. And so
That's
I'm
terrible.
starving. They give me this disgusting medicine and it makes me nauseous. They wheel me back. I'm alone at this point, which is kind of terrifying. I don't mind needles, but the epidural is kind of, you know,
It
you
hurt.
hear stories. It kind of hurts. It's a big, long needle going into your back.
I would
so-
be passed out on the floor.
I know. That's why you're not in there.
You wouldn't need the epidural.
Yeah, he's like, get him while he's down. So Corey's not in there at this point. The nurses are trying to make small talk and stuff. I'll never forget they were wheeling me back. And one of the nurses was like, you know, is this your first or second? I'm like, this is my second. They're like, what's your first? How old are they? And all this kind of stuff. I'm like, she was 21 months. And she said, what's her name? I was like, her name's Bethel. And they're like, oh, I had a grandfather named Bethel. And they were like, it's like religious, right? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, my grandfather wasn't. I was like, okay, thanks.
This small talk is stupid.
So
They're saying this while they're putting a needle in your back.
pretty much we were
quiet.
Yeah.
Over it.
I was like, yeah, shut up, please. So they get me back in the room. They do the epidural, and I can feel every single thing that they do. It's just numb,
Mhm.
you know, the feeling of numbness. So I can feel my legs spread eagle. I can feel them cutting. Corey's in the room at this point. I'm about to throw up while I'm on my back. I'm like, I don't know how that's going to work. Going to choke and die.
Well, when I walk into the room, like they down me, put my little hat on, and I get to walk in. So keep in mind, right, with Bethel, I was there, but then I got kicked out, right? Well, this time we're ready to go. And I thought for sure I was going to trip on the wires of
intimidating because there's like 10 doctors in the room. Every person has a job, so you have like 7 people touching you at one time.
right. I'm like
3 of the people are for the baby, and so it's like I'm like everything happens so fast, and like they're very confident in what they do. So you have a level of confidence in them, but it's still surgery. You're still about to meet your baby. It's a very intimidating experience, and I'm about to throw up this whole time. And so
On
I'm
my
like,
back.
I really want to enjoy this, but I really feel like I'm going to throw up. And so they give me something for that. And like I said, I can feel them messing with my legs. I feel them putting the betadine or whatever it is on me. And then I feel them cut. And that experience is just wild because you can feel literally everything. It just doesn't hurt. And so, I mean,
What does that even feel?
it feels it feels exactly like you would like what's actually happening. That's what it feels like. It feels like somebody's cutting you, and that's all you can feel.
But it doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt. It's not a sharp pain. It's a very dull, numbing kind of pain. But from the time that they get me ready and prepped and everything to the time that they were pulling the baby out was like
Thank you.
5 minutes.
Oh,
And so they cut, and he's like, all right, you're going to feel a lot of pressure and you're going to feel like a release. And that's exactly what I felt. It was up in my chest almost is where I felt it. And he pulls Levi out. He holds him over the curtain, and like immediately I was like, oh my gosh, he looks exactly like Bethel. And I just start sobbing. And so they take him over to the incubator or whatever. The nurse gets a picture of him and me and Corey together and everything. And then I really don't remember. I remember I think they take you and baby away so that they can sew me up and everything. And then I meet him later.
Yeah, let me jump in with my perspective on the actual cutting and the birth itself, right? So, there's this, Casey's on the table. She has this sheet that goes halfway, right? So about middle of her belly up, is where I'm at with her. And then the doctors and everybody are about, here down for the C-section. And so I remember when they pulled Levi out and they held him over the curtain, we're like, a little boy, woohoo, right? And if you remember, I sobbed with Bethel. I did not sob with Levi. I was, and this might sound bad, but it comes from a good place. I was more intrigued with her opening than I was baby. So they take Levi over to the warmer incubator area, and I'm just staring at this crater in Casey's
so
abdomen.
surprising.
I know.
You don't like.
I know,
right.
but it was fascinating to me that I'm literally looking into her. It would be
Organs.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. And I had my phone to take pictures and everything. And I didn't know if I was allowed to take pictures of her incision and her opening. So I remember I just kind of did a really quick whoop,
He
like that.
literally records me and he goes, "Beep," and then he goes, baby.
I just didn't know if I was allowed to.
Hey, there's not a lawsuit.
Yeah. And so, after I did that and I knew that Casey was okay, that's when I went over to Levi. I saw him for the first time. I got to hold him. And then same thing with Bethel, we did for Levi. I got him swaddled, and we went to
I'm not there.
Right. We went to the bathing area, where he got his first bath, where he got his weigh in. And it was really cool because the nursery had a huge glass window, and that's where all of our family was. So all of our family was standing there when we brought him to the nursery for the first time. So I was able to hold him up. Bethel was there with my dad. And so when we held him up, Bethel was there to see him, which was a really cool moment. So we did the bath. I videoed that. They laid him down on the heating scale. And, I decided, hey, this would be a good time to walk out and around and go ahead and go get Bethel, just so she wouldn't feel left out, feel jealous, right? Because this is her first experience with, not being an only child anymore, right? So I go out and I'm still in my scrubs. So she's a little taken back in terms of like, hey, like, what are you wearing? But I hold her and I explain, I point to Bub and I explain like, hey, that's the baby that was in mommy's belly. And she was, how old was Bethel when he was
concept to grasp, 21 months.
Yeah, 21 months. So, she it took her a minute to comprehend like exactly what was going on, but she did great. She was excited to see him. She didn't cry or anything like that. But I held her for a moment and we just watched Bub, and it was a really special bonding moment for me and her. And then I, went back in with Bub, and
she's kind of at the point or at the age where she's like, yeah, I don't care. Like I don't understand it enough to really care. So I think that was a good age too. But
I could see what you're saying. Like if you waited till she was 3, she had 3 years to be by herself.
Right. Because that's honestly, that was one of the hardest parts about having Bub is for almost 2 years, it was just me and Bethel.
Right.
And so whatever she wanted to do, I was like, let's do it, girl. I'm yours, So it was kind of a breakup of your first kid. Yeah. And that's kind of a sad way to think about it because it's a happy season, but you do have to now split yourself with 2 kids. And it was kind of a sad reality check for me. I didn't know that it would be that sad going into it, but that was kind of like, oh, this is like my last time with just you.
Right.
So you have to, even still, we have to have those days where we're like, all right, I just want to take Bethel this time. Because, she needs that, we need that, all that kind of stuff. But so anyway, he's born. I'm recovering. They put me back in the room with him and Corey, and I'm able to see everybody and all that. And this recovery with my C-section was a lot harder. They did this new nerve blocking thing, and I'm very convinced that that's what gave me a lot of problems. Mm-hmm. They put me on gabapentin, which is from the devil. And I've known other people that's been on it, and they say they didn't do well with it either. And that's with my heart.
Is it a pain med?
Yes, and it's for the nerve blocker. It's a nerve something. But anyway, they tried to get me up. I had him at 1:43 or something like that. They tried to get me up out of bed at like 7 or 8 p.m. And as soon as I used any sort of muscle, my right hip where they put the nerve blocker in, it feels like somebody set it on fire. And I'm also bleeding a lot at this point. They do those pushes and they push and I gush, and they change my sheets and they push and I gush, and they're like, okay, you're bleeding like a lot. And so they bring in other nurses and doctors, and you're like, okay, that's a little concerning too. Cause like with C-sections, you already lose a lot of blood and vaginals, obviously. And so blood clotting is a very big issue. That's why they want to get you up and moving around. And so I'm like a little scared. I have my newborn and I'm bleeding a lot. And so they have to give me something for that. And I don't get up. I'm not able to get up, I think, until the next day. And so I'm cathed and everything. And I can't get up because I'm like, I tried to stand up. The pain made me black out. My freaking blood pressure can't handle nothing. So I black out and I'm like, I'm about to pass out. I'm like, so I don't think that'll help our situation. I'm going to sit back down. And so they don't try until later. But that doesn't last very long. I think by the next day, my bleeding was fine. I was pretty normal. And then we go home like 2 days later, which was crazy because I literally have him June 19th. Gosh, didn't even think his birthday. June 19th. And then we get sent home, I think, the 21st. So we're only in the hospital for a day, or they're like, get out, girl, you're done bleeding. Right, excessively. We know you're going to be okay. And so then we have all of a sudden 2 under 2. And let me tell you, that transition, for me, that was the hardest. Because especially C-section, I'm not knocking vaginal births at all, but my C-section was very difficult to recover from. That hip pain lasted for at least 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm trying to get off pain meds and everything. But then all of a sudden we have 2 under 2, and that's hard. Corey goes back to work, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
What now?
We had a lot of support, though. We had everybody. Bethel had a very busy schedule for a very long time. They would be like, all right, like literally she's going to my mom's one day. She's going to the library with his dad the next day. She's going to the park the next day, the water park the next day. I'm like, praise God for that, because this would be very hard without that.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that episode. Now we're going to go to the cereal bar. Clap on 3. 1, 2, 3.
All right, guys, we're back at the cereal bar. Vaughn has picked the cereal this week. So we're going to go ahead and close our eyes, and then Vaughn's going to get that prepared, and we will do our guess and our rating for this week. Here we go.
It's lunchtime. Hey, what's lunch?
Why do I always get the
nuts?
Did you get a basic cereal?
Can
It does smell like Apple Jack.
Yes, just take
Get Apple Jacks.
Yep, you got it. Apple
What? I didn't even get a chance to try it.
Crunch.
Oh, you got off-brand Apple Jacks on this.
I mean, I thought it would make the taste different.
It's my man saving us some money, brother.
All right.
Hey, it's good.
My
The recommendation.
right. It's a safe bet, but I would give it a 4.
Hey, 3.75.
Go get you some.
What's your rating?
5 out of 5. I
5
meant to
out of
say,
wow, dang.
not 5 out of 10.
So perfect score. All right.
Ron, I will say, well done with the proportion.
Yeah.
Lakeland said she liked it.
Okay. We thank you guys so much for tuning in to
recommend.
episode 5. Stay tuned for part 3, which is our 6th episode. Thank you all so much for subscribing. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all the above. We'll see you for episode 6. Stay classy.
Eat your cereal.